And coming up next, Business Report producer David Weir talks with 84-year-old author Hal Spielman, who wrote a lifestyle book on how to go solo when you've lost a lifelong spouse or companion. Dave asked Hal why he decided to write this compelling book.
Well, after my wife had passed away, and I was kind of groping to get myself squared away in the, like little things like the checkbook and just the living part. And I decided to apply. I started looking online, and there's very little available for men. There's a lot available for women. But those are generally memoirs or a psychologist writing about some of her patients.
Right.
And that's not my background. My background's in market research for Fortune 200 companies. We're used to working with big samples.
Right, you were on the ground floor of marketing research.
Yes, I started in the 50s.
Yeah.
And I said, well, let's attack this in that way. So I started by doing some depth interviews with men to get an understanding of what their problems were and how they were coping with them. And from that, we ended up designing a major survey. We interviewed over 500 men. We then did a whole series of eye tracking studies, a technique that's used primarily for package testing, but we applied it to what do men look at. You know, the theory.
Wait a minute, when you say eye tracking, is that when you put the thing on?
Well, the technology is a little more advanced than that, but the usual theory is, oh, men look at the boobs, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's how we found. The thing men focus on and look at first is the face, the eyes, the smile. That's the most important thing. They look at the rest of the figure as well, but that's what they're focused on. And that was one of our first revelations. And then as we got into the survey data, and this is only information 55 and up, 82 is the highest age, and primarily men in their 60s and 70s.
That's me, yeah. Yeah,
all done on me, all done online, using exact same technology that I would use if I was doing a piece of work for a General Motors or a L'Oreal. Exactly the same technology. And we just applied it to a social science situation.
Yeah. Well, what was the common thread that ran through all this?
Well, I'd say there were two, really. The first was, and we stress it in the book, and it's almost as if it's divided in two parts, is getting yourself established, taking care of your own health. We tell you, go have your teeth checked, get an exam, establish a book of records, learn how to make some basic food, because a lot of men have never cooked, particularly mature widowed men never cooked. So we said, hey, get your basics, and we have a section there called malnutrition avoidance, and we talk about getting appliances.
Microwaves are very important for survival.
Get a microwave. But we also say, read the freaking manual.
Oh, that's true.
Right. And I've got a personal experience like that. At my house down here in Lake Worth, I had old washing equipment, so I had new equipment put in. And they brought it, but I had never done a laundry. Never in my life. So I said, well, I got to try this out. So I dumped some stuff in, and I throw some soap powder in. Of course, I do it the wrong way. And then I go to start the machine, and I pull the knobs off.
Okay, so
we started with that. And it starts to signal some things to us. And the little research group that I was working with said, we've got to get women into this. So we then designed 3 more studies for women, more depth interviews, content analysis of what women were writing, putting down on their online sites as to what they were interested in a man, and then we did a comparative survey of just over 400 women and 335 men, where we asked almost the identical questions, and the data is fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
Is there any? Well, were they the same or not? Or
well, some places they were the same, but some places they are embarrassingly different. One of my favorite is we asked, how many times do you go out with someone before you consider sex?
Yeah.
And remember, we're in the new culture, so it's not like when we were...
When you and I grew up,
you know,
there
sex
was no premarital sex.
Didn't exist.
Right.
You got married to go any further.
Right.
But now that's not the case, and there's a whole different culture. So I asked, how many times do you go out? Well, men said they expect to have sex after 3 times, 3 dates. And women say 5. Now, you got a gap in there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a man after 3 days, well, you know, I'm not going to sat with a peck on the cheek.
I'm bailing out of here.
I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
I'll go look for someone else. And she's saying, well, this is a very nice guy. I'd like to see him more. Yeah. How do you bridge that gap? And we make suggestions.
Book, right?
We make suggestions, and in our website, we have a very active website, suddenlysolo.org.
Yeah, we'll put your website and telephone number up on the screen.
Yeah.
And of course, obviously, if any viewers want to, we want to sell your book, which is very interesting.
Well, the website is an information site. It's not a dating site.
Yeah. And that's another thing.
Yeah.
What you know, you're a market research pro. You've been in business for years. Well, when people the loneliness factor hits in with widows and widowers.
Absolutely.
And one of the places they go is the online. They get mixed up in some horrendous situations, online dating. What's your comment on that?
First, don't lie. Yeah, there's a tendency you go online and you
embellish,
or you know, you lie about your age. Don't lie. Why? You get Googled. It's all there. Yeah. So they'll know by the time they get to you, they'll know your age. Right. They'll know more about your background. So don't lie. But what we have found is that online dating has become one of the major sources of coupling up for mature people. Yeah. 22% of the men that were in a relationship, and 20% happens that it's the same number for women, met that person in an online dating situation.
All right, Hal Spielman, Lake Worth, man, life explorer you are, and marketing guru.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of time on the market.
Thanks a lot for being here.
No, it was delightful. I really enjoyed it.
Right.
You know, it's not often you talk to a legend.
Okay, stay with us. We'll return right after these words.